Breaking right now, Thomas Markle Jr., the sister of Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, has lashed out at his sister and her husband Prince Harry in the most brutal interview he has ever given.
Long story short, all right, I do blame Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle, the shit stain of humanity. Yes, Meghan, and I hope you're watching right now. I hope you're watching, Meghan, because you are the shit stain of humanity. I hope people spit in your face when they see you walking down the street.
It's really a little bit disturbing, saying that, you know, she doesn't have a family, she doesn't have a father, and then Harry saying that she has no father now. That's just ridiculous.
So, her half-brother, Thomas Jr., has been slammed for trolling the Duchess and peddling bizarre conspiracy theories about her in a series of weird YouTube videos. Here he is. He's got pillows stuffed under his shirt there. He's wearing a terrible wig.
When Meghan Markle first stepped into the royal spotlight, the public only saw the polished interviews, glamorous events, and dramatic headlines. But now, years later in 2026, her estranged brother, Thomas Markle Jr., is making waves again. And his recent remarks are dragging that messy family drama right back into the spotlight. According to Thomas, the public image of Meghan and the real private woman are two totally different people.
It's really a little bit disturbing, saying that, you know, she doesn't have a family, she doesn't have a father, and then Harry saying that she has no father now. That's just ridiculous.
Meghan Markle is always attempting to, shall we say, build relationships with very, very, very rich men.
I think she's taking advantage of a very weakened man and getting him to say things that you just shouldn't be saying on television.
On August 4th, 40 years ago, Meghan was born via C-section, so they put her right in my arms. I was actually the first person to hold her. Her tiny hand wrapped around my fingers, and I fell instantly in love. I felt that same way for 40 years. Is this thing on? Look, I really do miss her. I hope she is having the absolute best birthday ever. Thank you for everything. He believes their bond slowly crumbled once fame and royal status entered the picture, and he clearly still carries a massive amount of bitterness. But her brother did not stop at family drama. He also dropped his harshest take yet about Prince Harry. To him, Harry has changed completely over the years, looking nothing like the man who left royal duties back in 2020, and he wants that message heard all across the globe.
That the man who did everything for her and she threw away like a piece of dog shit stuck to the bottom of her shoe. Meghan, you should be ashamed of yourself to show your face in public. I hope people look at you and point from now on. That's that soulless evil. Oh, did I say that out loud? Oh, I'm so sorry. Allegedly, in my opinion.
Do you still love your daughter?
Of course I do. I love my children. I love my other daughter. I love my son. Of course I love.
He claims Harry now looks exhausted, stressed, and completely disconnected from the confident prince everyone remembers from his younger days. And from where Thomas stands, Meghan played a massive role in that transformation. Naturally, that is just his personal take, not some proven fact. Still, his remarks instantly reignited massive online debates. After all, critics and supporters have been arguing over Harry's changes for years. Some think Harry simply buckled under relentless media pressure and public scrutiny. Others believe his marriage completely altered the course of his life.
Your sister, Meghan Markle, has ruined Prince Harry.
The answer is yes. I mean, every single interview, every single picture, every place they go, Meghan grabs him. Meghan controls him. Meghan tells him no. Meghan stands in front of him. She controls every single situation like she is the star. And she's turned Prince Harry into a man of non-substance.
Her brother definitely falls into that second camp. He openly questions her public persona, claiming her warm, relatable vibe in interviews feels totally staged. He even went so far as to call her a control freak who always needs to dominate the narrative. At one point, he suggested she acts like the main character. In every scenario, she allegedly struggles to take accountability when things fall apart.
Believe Meghan is driving this whole caravan for him. He is so stressed out. You can see it in his face. Despair. He's confused. He thinks he's going to get in trouble if he doesn't say exactly what Meghan says. Very sad.
I mean, it's incredibly hurtful. I also have always had sympathy with your father because I felt that he was thrown to the wolves. He tried to do the right.
These are harsh accusations from a highly fractured relationship, but they have definitely poured fuel on the endless debates surrounding Meghan's media image. Meghan's brother strongly rejects the popular story of her rising to global fame as a self-made woman who overcame huge obstacles all on her own. In his view, that narrative conveniently ignores all the family support and unique opportunities she actually had growing up. And honestly, this is exactly where the debate starts getting even more intense. Apparently, she spent years meticulously rewriting her own past while trying to construct a massive, larger-than-life brand for her future.
Family, you should be so thankful this woman wanted to leave because she's not going to bring any good to the branding of royal. She's going to downgrade it to a level of ghetto. And that's what it is. This is just bad.
She doesn't know us. You know, it's just very bizarre how she just basically brushed the entire family under the carpet like we don't exist and then lied about not having a family and lied about she doesn't have a family that she's always wanted. You know, we've always been here.
Like any proud parent, his home is littered with photos of his beloved children.
For the longest time, she wanted to be a dancer.
Each image is a heartbreaking reminder of happier times.
He even suggested she was so obsessed with Princess Diana's legacy that she tried to recreate that same global adoration and influence for herself. That heavy comparison instantly went viral online because Diana's legacy still carries massive emotional weight all over the world, even decades later. Many people found Thomas's comments brutally mean, while others felt he was just saying out loud what critics have whispered for years. Either way, one thing is completely obvious. The toxic Markle family drama is far from over, even today. Thomas Markle Jr. also claims that her alleged fixation on royal status went way beyond just fame and attention. From his perspective, it eventually turned into a bitter rivalry, especially when it came to Catherine, the Princess of Wales. According to Thomas, Meghan deeply struggled with constantly being compared to Catherine, who always remained one of the most respected and beloved members of the royal family, even under intense pressure.
It was because of Meghan that it was taken away. Meghan could have had her there if she wanted to have her there. Instead, she wanted to have a bunch of celebrities she barely knew, from the Clooneys to the Beckhams to Elton John to James Gordon to Timbuktu. I mean, it looked like anyone she'd met on the party circuit in the previous 2 years got the invite. I knew Meghan for a bit before she met Harry. Did exactly the same to me, you know. She did that to many people that she knew, that she'd either worked with or was friends with or whatever. It just seems to me she's what I would call a ruthless social climber, who just when people are no longer appropriate parts of her circle, they have to be expunged quickly so she can move on up the ladder.
According to Thomas, those constant comparisons fueled real anger behind closed doors. He painted Meghan as someone who desperately wanted that same level of devotion, but grew furious whenever the spotlight shifted toward Catherine. Obviously, that is just his personal view, but it is a theory royal watchers have actively debated for years. And it only intensified after Harry and Meghan exited royal life, causing family tensions to reportedly explode. Thomas also argues that Meghan always casts herself as the victim, claiming she stirs up dramatic situations and then acts like she is being unfairly attacked. He describes an ongoing cycle of drama where the blame always falls on everyone else, while Meghan plays the misunderstood victim. Again, these are accusations from an estranged sibling with a massive axe to grind, but his bitter comments have definitely reignited the fierce debate around their dramatic royal exit. Then Thomas went even further, focusing on Prince Harry. He claims Harry's whole identity completely shifted the moment he married Meghan.
The biggest mistake that Harry and Meghan have made.
Leaving the royals, because that was what she married into. That was explained to her. The people of England loved her and loved Harry, and I mean, they were the stars. Everybody loved them.
And I think it was a desperate plea because they've made their bed for the last 6 years, and now they're sleeping on them, and the entire world knows exactly what's happening with those two.
He alleged that Meghan tightly controls their press, public events, and image, keeping the spotlight locked squarely on herself. To Thomas, It is not a normal marriage. It is a calculated brand built on carefully spun stories and PR. He even hinted that Harry often looks like a background actor instead of the bold, self-assured royal people used to know. Back in the 2000s, Harry was the beloved rebel prince who charmed crowds and had a totally laid-back vibe. But Thomas claims that old Harry vanished once they moved to California to build their new media empire away from the palace. What really added fuel to the fire was that Meghan's father, Thomas Markle Sr., reportedly shared those exact same concerns before. He too worried about how much Harry seemed to change over the years. In his view, Harry lost that independent spark and energy he used to have as a young royal. Those words set the internet on fire, with fans and critics arguing fiercely over what they really meant. Thomas Jr. also argued that Meghan was handed opportunities ordinary people could only dream of.
Any attempt to contact your father since he had his stroke?
None whatsoever. And, I totally agree with you on the fact that none of us were ever coached or given any help with the paparazzi or press since the very beginning, which has caused a lot of problems. Nobody reached out.
Instant royal ties, global fame, power, and massive attention. Yet instead of accepting those historic traditions, he claims she picked fights over peace, cutting Harry off from his lifelong friends and royal duties. Still, Thomas admits it is all incredibly confusing because the Meghan he remembers from the past was so different. He keeps pointing to old memories, insisting she used to be down to earth and close with her family. But the brutal pressure of royal fame seems to have broken their family bond forever. Then came his wildest accusation yet. Thomas claimed Meghan's clashes with Queen Elizabeth II were far worse behind closed doors than anyone knew. He dropped hints about bitter arguments and raw tension during their final chaotic months in the United Kingdom. To him, those hidden palace fights probably drove them out of the country far more than the official stories claimed. According to Thomas Markle Jr., the cracks in their family did not just appear when she married a prince.
Have any advice for Harry?
Yeah, stop talking about the royals. Stop giving away all the secrets about the royals. And, love your children and love your wife. But also love your grandmother and love your father. Well, that's her first wedding in Jamaica. That's one of my favorite pictures. I'd like to have that experience with my granddaughter.
If you could get just one message across to your daughter now, what would it be?
As always, I do love you, and I wish we could sit down and talk about it. I'm not an ogre. I'd like.
He believes the resentment had been brewing for a long time, way before the royal cameras showed up. In his eyes, Meghan has a habit of cutting people loose the second they do not fit her public brand. Thomas also pointed to comments previously made by Samantha Markle, who has repeatedly talked about how close they used to be. Samantha insists they had a genuine sisterly bond right up until Meghan's rise to fame blew everything apart. But as Meghan's spotlight grew larger, that connection reportedly dissolved into nothing but complete dead silence. The family constantly points out that their father, Thomas Markle Sr., did everything to give Meghan her start in life. Samantha claims their dad paid for her expensive education and backed her acting dreams both emotionally and financially. But they feel all of his sacrifices were totally erased once she made it onto the world stage. Of course, Meghan has never publicly agreed with any of these family accusations. Over the years, both sides have spun completely different versions of the truth. Yet, Thomas Jr. insists the real pain isn't about fame or money, it is the feeling of being completely erased from her life. He feels as if their entire side of the family was quietly wiped from her story the moment she became royalty. Thomas claims he reached out repeatedly to patch things up, but his messages were met with total silence.
Now, like I said, Meghan did it to me, and now Harry's doing it to his father. That's a cold thing to do, and it's even more cold to do it to the Queen, who's in her 90s. None of this makes sense. My congratulations to Meghan and to Harry.
Harry and Meghan say they plan to call her Lily.
Lily is a perfect name. And the other thing that makes me happy is there's now about a lot more Markle blood in the royal.
He described the silence as cold and emotionally draining, especially since he remembers being so close to her. To him, this wasn't just a family naturally drifting apart over the years. It felt entirely intentional. He also claims Meghan and Harry present a polished image that ignores their real, messy family history. Thomas believes anyone who doesn't fit into their perfect PR story gets cut out and ignored. Of course, these are just allegations from estranged family members, not facts. Still, the drama keeps drawing attention because this deep divide has dragged on for years. One event that still makes Thomas incredibly emotional is the royal wedding back in 2018. He said the Markle family truly expected a beautiful reunion where both sides would finally come together. Instead, he says they were left completely outside the inner circle. Thomas claimed there was no real effort to reconnect and zero invites sent to most of the family. That experience, he says, permanently killed whatever relationship they had left. He even admitted he no longer believes he will ever reconcile with Meghan. In his eyes, the sister he grew up with before the fame and royal spotlight is gone. In her place is someone obsessed with image and influence. But the most dramatic twist came when Thomas Jr. started talking about Prince Harry's future. He warned that the cold distance Meghan allegedly put between her own family could eventually happen to Harry too.
She's already gotten the benefit of her bargain with Harry because she got the title. That's what she wanted. She wanted to be world famous. She wanted the title. You remember when Harry was single, he was the elephant. He was the one, the most eligible bachelor on earth. You could be a royal. You could become world famous overnight. You could live in a castle. You could have access to the crown jewels. You would be a princess. My God, yes, he could have had his pick.
How can she sit there saying, I so love my family, my family love me, and ruthlessly cut you, Tom Sr. and Samantha out of her life?
Thomas suggested that Meghan's tie to Harry was always more about his royal status than actual romance. The internet exploded over that claim, with critics calling it a brutal prediction of the couple's future together. Supporters, though, argued Thomas was just airing out his old dirty laundry yet again. Still, years after the royal split, the Markle family drama continues to trigger loud debates online. Thomas Markle Jr. says one of the most painful parts of this whole mess is matching the Meghan the world sees now with the sister he actually remembers. He points to old home videos and memories that show a totally different side of the Markle family. Back then, he says Meghan was relaxed, close with her family, and happy long before the royalty stuff changed everything.
Meghan Markle really did expect Harry to be a billionaire when she met him. She was incredibly disappointed to find out he's only worth a couple million, and she's gonna have to actually work and hawk these jams and jellies and dog biscuits to have the lifestyle that she...
I mean, that moment when Prince Harry, who's never met your father, says that Meghan has no father. What did you think of that?
I think it's horrible. The documentary is so far off on so many different levels.
Thomas believes those older memories.
To Thomas, those old memories make the current divide deeply painful. The contrast is almost impossible to wrap his head around. He insists the warm, down-to-earth Meghan from those early years simply does not exist anymore. Now, she is replaced by someone who seems totally obsessed with controlling her public image. He also made a pretty bold prediction about Meghan's future with her father. Thomas said that if she ever reconciles publicly with Thomas Markle Sr., it will likely be a calculated PR move rather than real forgiveness. In his view, a reunion would look more like a staged photo op than a quiet family healing process. Of course, this is just his personal take. There is zero proof of what Meghan will actually do down the road. Still, his words set off fresh debates online because people are still deeply curious about this family feud. Years later, the public is still debating whether she and her father will ever make up. Then, Thomas pushed into much darker, more controversial territory. In interviews, he questioned their private life, suggesting that both the royals and the Markles have been completely locked out of the couple's world. He even brought up the couple's children, triggering instant outrage from viewers who felt the kids should be completely off limits.
I'm hoping it doesn't go on forever. Right now, I'm talking to Meghan and Harry. I love you guys. We can work out the problems. I don't think there's any problems that can't be worked out. And I've said I'm sorry about the initial problem. If I've said anything today that offended anyone, I'm sorry about that too. But I'm just telling the truth and how I feel about what's going on. If I had done something terribly wrong, that would be fine, but I haven't. So I just want an answer. I don't like to say it, but I gotta say it. I don't know of anybody that cold to do this. I'll be very disappointed that I don't get to hold my granddaughter.
Does it hurt?
Of course it hurts. There are axe murderers in prison. Their family comes to see them, right? I mean, I'm not an axe murderer.
Through it all, Thomas insisted this was a massive family breakdown, not just a petty argument between siblings. He pointed out that they live completely isolated from both the royal family and the Markles, essentially locking themselves away in a deeply isolated world. Meanwhile, Thomas Markle Sr. continues to show deep sadness over how cold things have gotten. Unlike his son, the father's words sound less about throwing blame and much more about deep regret. Over the years, Thomas Sr. admitted he messed up during the media storm right before the 2018 wedding. He knows his actions broke their trust and pushed them even further apart. Still, he says the emotional silence has been incredibly painful. According to Thomas Sr., the hardest part is missing big milestones and being totally shut out of his grandkids' lives. He called the silence between them deeply heavy, especially since they used to be so close before the royals entered the picture. Thomas Sr. has said over and over that he never thought things would end like this. What hurts him most is being completely cut off from the daughter he supported through school in her early acting days.
Dumb mistake, and I'm never being forgiven for it. And this show that they're on, they talk about compassion. There's no compassion for me. There's no compassion for my family. And there's no compassion for the royal.
Part of you tempted to just drive up to California, turn up on their doorstep and knock on the door?
I'd never do that. That makes me a stalker. I'm not a stalker. She knows where I live. Harry's invited to come down anytime he wants by himself, or Meghan's invited to come down anytime she wants by herself or with Harry. I would love that. Father's Day is coming up. That really hurts when Father's Day.
While critics say both sides are to blame, Thomas Markle still positions himself as a father desperate for peace before it is too late. Honestly, that is where this whole story gets so incredibly complicated. For years now, Meghan and Harry have openly talked about healing, compassion, mental health, and cutting out toxic situations. Yet, from the Markle family perspective, it feels like those exact values were never shown to them. Whether you side with the Markles or fiercely defend Harry and Meghan, one thing is clear. This deep rift still hasn't healed in 2026, and Thomas Markle Sr. has made one truth very clear over the years. Despite all the ugly public drama, he claims he never stopped loving his daughter. No matter how messy things got, he still talks about Meghan as his little girl first and foremost. Some of his interviews honestly feel less like cheap tabloid gossip and more like a grieving dad wondering how it all fell apart. One haunting moment that really stuck with viewers was when a reporter asked Thomas if Meghan still loves him. He didn't get angry. Instead, he apparently paused and admitted he just didn't know. That silence spoke volumes.
Has treated Charles and the way Meghan has treated you?
Yes, I see them both ghosting their families completely. Now basically now they're alone in a huge house that they could probably accommodate 20 people in, and it's just the four of them.
There's some irony to the fact that Harry and Meghan are now living just a few hours up the road from you.
Right.
Yet they might as well be on a different planet in terms of the amount of contact that you're all having.
Exactly. I'm not a tearful type, but I keep everything in here. I don't really let it out like. But
to hear him tell it, the total silence has been much harder to handle than any public backlash. He also spoke emotionally about the last time he heard her voice. Their last real talk happened just before the 2018 royal wedding, while he was lying in a hospital bed with severe heart issues. Back then, most people assumed they would patch things up and quietly move forward once the wedding madness settled. But instead, Thomas says, the line went dead and stayed dead. Since then, Thomas Markle Sr. has fought severe health battles, from heart attacks to a massive stroke that stole his speech and mobility for months. And yet, during all those terrifying moments in the hospital, he says he never got a single call or text from Meghan. Whether you blame Thomas for the mess or feel deeply sorry for him instead, there is no denying how much these interviews have shaken the public. What surprises people most is that Thomas often sounds sad, not angry. He keeps saying that if there is any realistic path to peace, he is still willing to take it. The old man insists he never wanted a public circus and years of fighting to be the final chapter. There was also that moment Thomas talked about King Charles walking Meghan down the aisle at the wedding. Instead of being bitter, Thomas said he was deeply grateful someone was there for Meghan when his failing health kept him from making the trip. Missing that walk broke his heart, but he holds zero resentment toward the king for stepping in.
Been very open about her mental health struggle.
Yes.
Do you consider yourself partly to blame for her suffering?
Maybe to some percentage, but I was there at any time. She could have picked the phone and called me at any time. She has my phone number. So.
Getting any younger, do you worry that you might never meet these two grandchildren?
July 18th, I'll be 77 years old. Most of the Markle men don't make it much past 80. So there's a good chance I might never see my grandchildren. I'm not looking for pity. I'm just saying that's a reality.
Even though he keeps doing these interviews, Thomas insists he has no interest in fame, money, or getting revenge. He says his only goal is to repair the relationship in private and to set the record straight about his public image. Critics argue that his constant interviews only push them even further apart. What makes this whole thing so incredibly tragic is just how close they live physically, despite the vast emotional gulf. Thomas actually lives quite close to Harry and Meghan's estate in California. Yet he insists he would never just show up at their door or force his way in. He claims he still respects her boundaries, even as he watches her life from the outside looking in. That's the part that really breaks your heart, a father living just down the road, completely shut out of birthdays, milestones, and daily life. Thomas also sounded deeply reflective when talking about Meghan's own struggles with her mental health and royal pressure. Instead of brushing her pain aside, he admitted he often wonders if his own actions during that pre-wedding media circus piled onto her overwhelming stress.
Have given up hope of a reconciliation with Harry and Meghan?
I'll never give up hope. I'll stay in the game. I mean, like I said, if I'm called or visited, they're welcome anytime they want to come down. I'm here.
Do you think she still loves you?
I have no idea. I don't. Like I said, I haven't spoken to her since I was laying in a hospital bed 2 days before they got married. That's the last conversation we had. That was it. I haven't spoken to him.
The truth is, Thomas Markle Sr. has never tried to completely dodge blame for the fallout with Meghan. He has openly admitted on several occasions that his choices leading up to the royal wedding likely made an already tense situation much worse. Yet, he also insists he was never some impossible shadow to find. In his eyes, no matter how toxic things got, his daughter always had his number and could have called to clear the air. At the very heart of his plea today is just one word: forgiveness. He firmly believes they could fix everything if they just had one honest conversation. To him, no family feud is completely beyond saving if both sides are actually willing to sit down and talk. What makes his pleas so heartbreaking today in 2026 is the ticking clock, because chances to make things right won't last forever. Thomas knows his health is failing, and his time is rapidly running out. After suffering major health crises and facing long recoveries, he confessed he still fears he might never actually get to meet his grandchildren. To him, that thought cuts deeper than any brutal headline ever could. He says remaining a total stranger to them is a pain he carries every single day. What is really striking is how Thomas barely even mentions money, fame, or status these days. Instead, his thoughts keep drifting back to the simplest things: family dinners, holiday get-togethers, and the everyday moments most people take for granted. He insists he would throw away all the media spotlight in a heartbeat just to find some peace with his daughter. Then there are those old family recordings that Thomas Jr. keeps bringing up in public home videos showing Meghan during a completely different era of her life. These tapes seem to hurt the Markle family the most, painting a warm, affectionate picture that contrasts sharply with today's icy public feud. In one memory, Thomas pictured Meghan spotting him in a school crowd, practically beaming as she ran to show him an award she won. To him, those times felt completely real, filled with genuine warmth and connection. Honestly, that is exactly why this whole drama sparks such endless debate online. Almost everyone agrees Thomas Markle Sr. messed up during that chaotic media frenzy leading to the 2018 royal wedding. Even Thomas admits that. Yet many wonder if one horrible mistake should completely erase decades of love and support that came before it. On the flip side, plenty of people defend Meghan and Harry for drawing hard boundaries, especially after enduring years of relentless media hounding and public judgment. Their supporters argue that nobody really knows what happened behind closed doors, while critics argue this total family cutoff is just far too harsh.
Has been slammed for trolling the Duchess and peddling bizarre conspiracy theories about her in a series of weird YouTube videos. Here he is. He's got pillow stuffed under his shirt there. He's wearing a terrible wig. And he calls himself me-gain, a disparaging term he regularly uses for his half-sister. He goes on to spread the conspiracy theory that Meghan's mom, Doria, previously spent 10 years in jail, a story that's been repeatedly debunked, by the way. And even British royal commentators who are normally against Harry and Meghan have been coming out to say how disgusting this is. Jenny Bond has called on Google, which owns YouTube and has strict rules about offensive speech, to take responsibility and get
I think
these
it's
videos
disgusting
off.
because she treats her family so well.
Oh, come on. Come
She
on.
deserves it. She
No,
deserves it.
Kevin.
What goes around comes around.
How does she treat a family?
Suck it up, Meghan.
How does she treat them badly, exactly?
Huh?
How does she treat them
What,
badly?
hasn't spoken to her dad now?
Because he sold stories on her.
Yeah.
It was cashing in.
But whether he was selling them out or not, the debate around this story still continues today. So what do you think? Do you think Meghan made the right choice by cutting off the family members she felt brought drama to her life? Or did this entire feud spiral way further than it ever should have? People hold incredibly strong views on both sides of this. Honestly, it has become one of the most dramatic celebrity family feuds in modern royal history. If you enjoyed this, make sure to hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe for more coverage on royal drama and celebrity stories. But do not go just yet. The next video on your screen goes into another shocking celebrity scandal that you absolutely cannot miss. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.